Hello chaps and chappets, and welcome to this very special first impression video for the game Clash of Rage. Well, I say first impressions, but I've actually played this game 4 times, so it's an amalgamation of, you know, my thoughts and feelings about this game so far, and they are all kind of subjective because this is a prototype version of the game. And the first time I played the game is with the actual designer, Frédéric Gourart. We played a slightly different version of the game to the game that I played recently. So again, the game may change, and so some of my, you know, things and commentaries, that's the English word I think, may or may not apply to the actual final product. So as I said, I've played this game with the designer, who's also designed Titanium Wars, that's the doobie, and also I've also worked with La Boîte de Jeu before with their game Outlive, which you should have in your homes right now. So what is Clash of Rage? Clash of Rage is a combat game very similar to games like Small World, Kemet, or even Risk, where players will have control of a clan. And that clan has been chucked off of their land by the elves. And so all the players in their clans have decided to attack the elves all simultaneously and take back their land. And maybe take back a bit from other players as well. If you want to learn more about how the game plays, I've done a how to play video, a preview video, which you can click on this link which pops up now. But let's talk about what we have here in this prototype. I'm going to start with the rules of the game. Now, they're only work in progress at the moment, and as you can see, I've printed them off, but already they are very colourful and very clear and very structured. There's a little bit of bleed from page to page on some of the rules, which can be a little bit confusing, but apart from that, the rulebook is very, very well written. It's very black and white. You will not walk away from reading this rulebook with any shades of grey. There won't be any questions that will be bugging you. If there are questions, you just quickly look through it, and it's very, very simply, the things are easy to find very simply in whatever phase they are, or if they're to do with combat, or if they're to do with your actions, or if they're to do with everything. There's a whole page on just the combat, which is all symbology and little bits of when, where, how, who strikes first, and who wins and end of battle. Very, very clear, very, very simple to understand, and very simple to play. Now the components, once again, La Boîte de Jeu has provided some excellent components for a prototype. These tiles, which you're going to be playing the game on, are very thick, high standard tiles. They're double-sided, but as you can see, they are duplicates of the same thing. It might be interesting if they do like different kind of layouts with different mountains, maybe a tile with 2 or 3 forges on instead of a city, or maybe lots of respawn gems on there as well. It'd be interesting to see if the game develops and they put more and more different kind of tiles in the game even. I've got 5 tiles here, and you're supposed to play with 1 tile per player. And it's a 4-player game, so maybe there's a 5th player expansion. The components, as I said, the artwork, I presume, is finished because the art on the cards is gorgeous. The art on the player mats, the dice are really nice quality. They're wooden. Again, that might change in the final game. And one thing that would definitely change is all these cardboard tokens, which will be the actual minis of the game. Now here's an image of the minis, what they're going to be looking like, and you're going to have a mini for each different race, each different clan, and each different type of unit in your army. Choosing your tribe is either a simple case of just drawing at random or just picking the color that you prefer, but choosing one over these is quite a hard thing because they're all balanced in different ways. Some of them are a lot more stronger and roll a lot more attack dice. Some of them can move quicker. Some of them can have more units on the board than the others. Some of them have more special powers than the others. So choosing which one of these guys to take is fun because they're all balanced in different ways. And then you get your cards, your tactic cards. And again, they're all completely different as well. They have different amounts of units. There's one clan which has a lot more units added to the board every time. There's one clan which gets a lot more money every time. There's another clan which has low numbers all the time, so they're probably going to be the first person to activate each round. And another clan which has high numbers, which means that they are going to be the last player probably every round. So there's a lot to think about and a lot to process when you're choosing your clan. And then on the tactics phase, you have to decide which of these cards you're going to use. This is a great element of the game where you have to deduct what the other players are going to do and when they're going to do it. And again, if you know what clan has the lowest numbers, you kind of guess that they're probably going to go first. And so you're trying to bluff each other into who's going to go first. This is essentially important at the beginning of the game when you're placing your stronghold, because the maps are going to be different every time because the tiles are going to be rotated into different orientations. So you might find that there are some reinforcement stones grouped together. So it might be good to go right there and just get reinforcements all the time because you're right next to your stronghold. It might be best to, to be over this space where there's nobody around. So it might be best to be last and then see where everyone else goes and then go into a space in the corner so you can turtle a bit. And then we come to the actions. Well, there's only 2 actions that you can choose from, and so you won't be scratching your head too long deciding what you're going to do because it's going to be pretty obvious. The game balances itself out with the actions. You're either going to have a lot of money and gems to do a buy action, which means that you're going to do a buy action, or you might not have enough troops on the board, so you're going to do a buy action this round. It's very, very simple which action you're going to choose. When you're buying stuff, there is a good selection of choice for you. There's lots of different things that you can do. The black market holds a lot of things, and the black market is always changing because someone's always buying something else, unless you've had a bad draw and you've got big piles of the same items. Again, the heroes give you enough different variability in the game, so there's a bit of randomability. I think that probably in some of the stretch goals are going to be to unlock other heroes, because what will happen is you'll have 4 heroes. When someone buys one, you get another hero placed out, and when someone buys another, so there are more and more heroes and more variabilities in power. Movement I thought was going to be a bit confusing due to the fact the amount of different figures that you're going to have on the board. And talking about figures, the minis would not fit on this prototype board because they are too big. But don't worry, they're going to make a bigger size terrain tile so the minis do all fit on, so there won't be any congestion. And again, this will be something easier to see visually. You won't get any problems with combat, forgetting that there's actually a unit, a level 1 unit which is hidden underneath 3 level 3 units, and you've totally forgot to add their power on in the combat. But you will be able to see everything on the board with the minis, with the bigger tiles. So where was I going with this? Yeah, movement. I thought was going to be confusing with the amount of different units that you're going to have on the board. But you're either going to bulk them together into one big clump and maybe leave one in the city here and one on a reinforcement stone, and then just move these guys like this, like a swarm. Or you're going to break them into little parts. And so movement never really got confusing. So that was a relief. Combat is intense and interesting. Again, you've got this initiative order which is going to decide a great amount. If you've got the initiative, you're going to have a chance to whack the opponent and probably take out half their units. They might move into your space with 15 units and you've got 3 guys defending the city, and you find out that you've got initiative, so you roll the dice and you take out half of their armies. That's another great thing that's enjoyable about the combat. You get to pick who you kill off, so you can look at a character sheet and go, okay, that one's strong, but that one's weak. I know what, I'll wipe out that strong one, then they'll lose that ability to re-roll and that extra damage on top, and they won't have 10 dice, they'll only have 4 dice this time for their attack. But some of the bugbears of the combat is if you do forget that there is actually a unit there and you could have used their power and you've just lost a battle because of it, that can be a bit frustrating. And again, calculating all the defense against the attacks can take a bit of a while, and it's good if other players join in and help out and count out. Talking about other players, if you're playing a 4-player game, the combat can go on for quite a long time. Player 1 will move into a space and attack the elves, which are controlled by player 2. And so there's this back and forth where you attack, they attack, they attack, they attack, they attack, and you're wiping out 1 unit, 2 units, 1 unit, 2 units, 1 unit. And it's finished. Okay, player 2 goes, they attack elves, which are controlled by player 3, and they attack, it's like bash you on the head and bash you on the head. And so you're waiting, and then player 3 goes and they attack player 1. But at the same time, if you participate, the game seems, you don't get so bored, you don't get your phone out and you don't start counting the amount of spider webs in the corner of your studio. So let's talk about replayability. Well, there's replayability with the different tiles. You'll be putting them in different orders, in different spaces, depending on the amount of players. Again, the black market, there is a lot of equipment in the black market. So the black market will offer a bit of replayability with the different weapons you'll be able to equip your teams with. Again, if you play with a different team, that gives you a bit of replayability. But the thing that's going to give this thing probably the most replayability is the campaign mode, which I haven't played, and all I know about the campaign mode is it is 6 scenarios that you'll play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there will be effects that carry over and objects that you can carry over from one to the next. There'll also be rules that will be introduced in each mission. So this game as it stands at the moment is kind of like a basic kind of move here, take that out, move here, take that out, buy this, do that. But they're going to introduce a new rule which will change things. So maybe the terrain will have an effect, maybe reinforcement stones will do different things, maybe, I don't know, maybe a city, maybe there'll be more elves to take out, there maybe be a big city. But the final story in the scenario is you're going to take on an elf king. So it is going to be like this big end of game boss which you're going to have to work together to take out. Because when you're playing the game, that's all you're doing, is you're taking out elves and then you're taking out each other. So let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is very simple and fluid. A reference card would have been nice because when we were playing, people were forgetting what happens next. But the turns are pretty self-explanatory and very, very simple. Games play around about 4 to 5 rounds per game, and then someone will win. The last time I played, someone stole a victory away from me. They did a very devious thing, but we all just laughed at the end because it was just such a great strategy. The gameplay is very simple. It is just either move or buy stuff, and then there's the combat, which is interesting. I haven't seen combat like this before, but there's always a good chance of you hitting something. The dice are not against you, they're in your favor. 4 sides of the dice have hits and 2 sides have misses. And obviously the more dice you roll, the good chance you have at laughing at someone when they get all blank sides. Whew. Some of the players that I've played with have said that they made some mistakes at the beginning of the game and found it difficult to catch up. But I can't really see that due to the fact that the game kind of level balances itself out. You will spend around buying something and moving, or moving and buying something. It's very rare that you will be moving and moving or buying something and buying something due to the fact of the nature of the game. The game can allow you to turtle, but at the same time it balances itself out and forces you to move and attack. So again, the condensity of the game, it's condensed into 2 actions which you do on each round, and you will be doing 1 of each. And so the game, as I said, will feel balanced. So there you have it, Clash of Rage, a combat area control minis game with some family-friendly rules and a campaign. If that interests you, go and check out Kickstarter right now. This project ends on the 9th of June 2017. Show your support for La Boîte de Jeu and Clash of Rage. So all that remains for me to do now is to say thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you found it informative. Informative? Yeah, that's the word. Informative, and pointed you in the direction whether this is a game for you or not, because you don't have to own every single board game out there. You just need to own 1 or 2 good ones. And hopefully I've pointed you in the direction if this is a good one for you. So I will say ciao for now, and remember, please play nicely with each other, because it's only a game.
Just sitting at the table next to Felicia with